Good afternoon. It's New Year's Eve, the eve of 2020. And just another piece of proof that what RuthAnn says, she says off the top of her head. The TV's on silent, the humidifiers are running full blast, and the snow is blowing sideways outside. Here in the Great Lakes region of northwestern Pennsylvania. These are my thoughts for the eve of the end of this decade. Care for yourself enough so that when you want to give to another, you're sure, or can be fairly sure, that what you want to give is also something that will be received. In my case, my desire to give has been misplaced in many cases, in many instances. We think we want to care about somebody else, but we really often are feeding our own needs and don't realize it. You need to do for someone else when that person is both responsible for and capable of doing for him or herself. I'm making a few resolutions, one of which is to give of my time more readily to those whose needs are apparent, but to do so with fewer words and a greater degree of practical action. Let's see if I can hold to that. Let's just see. Another vow is to address aversion to tasks. Sometimes we put off doing things indefinitely, or because we don't see the point. Things that are kind of rudimentary in the lives of most people. They either pay a cleaning lady or they do the work themselves. I plan to do the work myself. Sometimes the creative impulse calls a halt to all of that. In fact, it often does. If you're in a creative drive, you may neglect everything around you for the sake of finishing the creative project. Feel less guilt about that. But when you're in the mode to clean, stick with it. Remembering that when you've completed that task, you'll feel so much better psychologically. Don't be afraid to give away something that you've had for years just because it reminds you that you're in the final third of life and you're starting to give things away, which can be scary. There are people who need what you have, whose needs are great, and whose material possessions are so few. And maybe you have something that can be used, that is just static in your house. I've got a lot of static stuff. I have whole rooms that I very rarely interact with. Static stuff, I've been told, can embody energy that drains the energy from yourself. All this stuff. I can't imagine what hoarders go through. They must be catatonic because the stuff in their houses is sucking so much of their energy. Wow. Forgive yourself. You're not guilty of everything, and what happens isn't always your fault. There are people who might put blame on you, but you don't have to take it. What happens isn't always your fault. Very rarely is what happens to other people your fault. It's not your responsibility to fix it either. Either, neither, neither. Cook for yourself. Buy whole food. Get simple recipes. And eat directly a piece of fruit or a vegetable without having to constitute it in a box first. Give yourself credit for that which you have accomplished, even if it isn't recognized by a broad audience. Create just because. I believe that's why we were put here, to extend creation by continuing to create. Appreciate that which is created for those same reasons. These are expressions of humanity. They're not useless. Works of art affect us subconsciously. They can change the course of our thinking. They leave impressions which penetrate our worldview and alter the way we see things. That's why we look at a work of art, or listen to a work of art, or watch a work of art in progress. Because when we come away from it, we are changed. Even when we cannot identify the change that is taking place within us by naming it. Let the creative experience infuse you and let it embody you. We don't always have to define what happens to us. We can simply feel it's a fact and declare that something positive just happened in our lives. Love has been discussed and expounded upon. If you feel loved, say so. If you feel loved, give in the same manner. Somebody will be there to receive your love. Somebody will. Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. Begin with the least among you and give a little bit. This is where the growth will accelerate. And there will be no more stagnation. There will be nothing left that is static. Everything will begin to move and forward, in and out. Feel love and express it. Pray. Your Creator will hear you. Why not? How can we say no to the possibility? We can't prove that God doesn't hear us. We can't prove anything beyond ourselves. We are not responsible for being here. We did not bring ourselves into being. Just allow yourself to meditate upon that. We were brought to be, and we get to breathe and see and hear and taste and touch and move. Wear your pajamas all day. Nobody's watching. Be in a state of celebration. Happy New Year.